It is.
No, I realized that.
Why don't you age? And Peter, did you know you were casting the immortal?
No, maybe I have a painting in my attic that's aging for me.
It kind of goes, the same thing also goes for the elves. I mean, Orlando and Kate. I don't know what creams they're putting down on you, but darling, I want some.
That's a good idea. We should come out with one, shouldn't we? An elven face cream.
I do have, as a fan, I do have a question for the elves, people who played elves in the movie. So, since elves are immortal,
You can call us elves. We like it.
Yeah.
You like being elves?
Distinguish between people who played elves and people who are elves.
You might be an elf. Do elves, do you have to think differently, or are you thinking as a human? Do you have to put yourself in the mind of an immortal when you do this? Do you have pity on the rest of your cast members when you're in character?
So is typecast.
Yes.
No, they're incredibly generous. Look, I was just grateful to get a job in this one. I thought my time was over in Middle Earth.
Yeah, you and me both.
Are elves generous, do you mean? Or have Peter been generous to bring you back? What do you mean?
A bit of both.
Okay.
No, but I do think Galadriel's incredibly generous. Yeah, it was a big stretch for me.
Just to get you out of the trailer, you mean?
Peter, can we talk about the tone of the movies? When the trilogy of The Hobbit was announced, my understanding is that the tone of the movies would sort of progress toward the tone of the Lord of the Rings movies and sort of match up when you watch them all together. How would you say the tone has changed from the first movie, from An Unexpected Journey, to Desolation of Smaug? How's that extended in this movie?
Well, I think it's extended the way that you would imagine it would extend seeing the first two. It's a progression, and it's certainly, I guess that everybody in this room knows what's going to happen at the end of The Hobbit, never mind. You know, there's a lot of sadness and tragedy, and, you know, which is good. It's always great when you can kill off some main characters. I tell you what, it's, like, as a filmmaker, thank God, like when you can finally kill somebody, because it gives you a chance to do something, you know, hopefully that's powerful and emotional, and otherwise you're a little bit. I mean, so anyway, we do get to kill a few of them this time round, so it's good, and I think you'll feel it getting quite. Yeah, well, I mean, dark isn't the word. I mean, these are fun movies. They're fun, you know. Even, I mean, the Rings movies were fun. I don't think they're just, you know. But yes, it's not as comical as the first Hobbit movie for sure, and they're progressively getting towards the tone of the Fellowship of the Ring. Do you know Elijah was 18 years old when we did Fellowship? By the way, we're just trying to work it out.
And he's still 18 years old. Philip, as one of the screenwriters, when having the luxury of telling the story over 3 movies instead of 1, do you wish you'd had been able to include more things in the first 2 movies? I mean, in the first 3 movies? If you had this sort of pace of storytelling that you have in The Hobbit as opposed to Lord of the Rings, are there things that you guys wish you could have put in the first 3 movies that you had to take out just for time?
Yeah, you mean in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, sure.
Say, Tom,
I think of them as just a continuation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, the Old Forest, definitely, and Tom.
Did you think about Tom Bombadil at all? Did you consider about it?
We did. Pete had some very funny ideas, including seeing his hat while they were on the road. Do you remember that? We actually wrote that into the script. No, that will have to be for another generation of filmmakers, I suspect.
Did you have anyone in mind for the cast? For Bombadil?
No, but can I tell you that we did do a wish list, I remember, and it's sitting in a box somewhere because Pete keeps everything. And on that wish list was a young Australian actress for Galadriel called Kate Blanchett. And that was our absolute number one.
On young.
No, this is true. And then.
But I had Kate in a wish list in a box somewhere.
No, for Galadriel. No, that was our first list of possible people for casting.
I see, right.
Well, Benedict, you're playing the ultimate heavy.
Sorry?
You're playing the ultimate heavies in this movie. You're playing Sauron and you're playing the dragon.
Yeah.
How would you characterize the difference between these two bad guys?
One's a dragon.
Someone have a pen. I'd like to write that down.
Take this down. You need to know this. One's a dragon and one's an all-seeing, non-corporal entity of evil.
Yes.
Did I get away with it? No, on screen. Rubbish! One's real, one's made of something that's vulnerable, and one seems to be born out of everything that's evil and difficult to pin down and actually kill.
Is there any benefit to doing the motion capture that you hadn't experienced before? As an actor, is there something that motion capture gives you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't get
You're
standard
completely
makeup.
free to just make a complete fool of yourself and lose yourself in your imagination, and you don't have to hit. It's much harder what these guys did with green screen, acting opposite ping pong balls and marks of tape, and pretending that's your reality in the whole costume with continuity, taking into account camera moves. I was just throwing myself around a carpeted floor like a lunatic.
And Andy, did you have any advice for him? Do you have any advice for Benedict on how to do motion capture?
Just make sure you don't get carpet burns, really.
Yeah, put the Velcro in the right place.
Exactly, yeah. Benedict,
Thank you.
they love you, Benedict.
Graham, as Dwalin.
Yes.
As Dwalin. Do you think that the dwarves get enough credit in this movie for being heroes? Because they're not the most obviously sexy creatures.
Well, obviously, to the female dwarves, we're very, very sexy.
Are there female dwarves?
There are. Well, I've often thought that the entire journey is seeking a female dwarf, and boy, it takes us a long time. But no, it's nice to be the only representative of my race here today. I feel a little outnumbered by my elven compatriots, but yeah, no, it's been an extraordinary experience being a dwarf when you're 6'3". So that alone was 2.5 years I'll never forget.
Luke? Can you actually shoot a bow? Did you know how to do that before you took the job?
Yes. Yeah.
Where'd you learn? Were you a Boy Scout?
No, I did it in Butlins. No one would know what that is. It's a very working class holiday resort, and I went with my family as kids, and that's what we used to do. We used to archery. But no, I mean when I got to New Zealand, I really did it properly then, and used a very, very big bow that was much bigger than me, and arrows that were very, very large. And yeah, I could probably do it. We did actually do a day. It's a shame because I think Aidan Turner remembers the day when we were all shooting, because the dwarves used to shoot from the hip and I used to shoot from the face and whatever. And we had to aim at these little action men that they'd put on the wall, and I did it. I got it. I beat them.
Kate, as an elf, we haven't had a chance to see you fight. That's one of the things that the elves do better than anyone else. They're the ninjas of Middle-earth. Are we going to be able to see you fight this time? Do you have a weapon?
Well, I actually, in the high school production of The Hobbit, which you did, I actually played the bard. So I was sort of prepared for a bit of fighting. But as an elf, you have to wear, because you're very tall, I'm relatively tall, but not that tall, I had to wear these sort of hugely high sort of disco glam boots, which were... so it's a little bit tricky to even walk.
So underneath that gown, you've got disco heels on.
Hmm?
You've got disco heels on under the gown.
Not by, just for height.
We do get to see Galadriel losing it a little bit in this next movie. Good.
It's a bit judgmental, yeah. I lose my shit, is that what you're about to say?
Yeah.
Elven shit.
I'm sure it sparkles.
She does. She gets to kick Sauron's ass a little in this next film.